Hello, my friends out there in the universe of power. This is Gabe Pena. Welcome to Titan Talk. One of the things I always wanted the objective of the show to be was to use these microphones to help people who are using their own strength to tell the stories of how they are leaving behind a positive impact on this world. And I am so thrilled to have Jackie and Chase Gentry here with me in the studio today for this episode of Titan Talk.
Thanks for having us, man.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah.
So I have known about Gentry Gym since you guys opened up. How long has it been now? Because you just celebrated an anniversary recently, right?
Yeah, we're about to celebrate the 5th year anniversary March 1st, actually. So
5 years.
5 years.
So since 2018?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does it feel looking back on all those miles traveled?
Oh, man. Well, first it feels like it went by like that. Just
time definitely moves faster now, and it is sometimes I think Jackie and I both are like, how in the hell we made it this far? You know, so
we look back and like, man, all the things we've been through, like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes the business owner life, it's just like you don't have the luxury of cruising through the days. Like things have to happen fast, and usually when you're not looking too, like you got to have these things operating well. But
yeah, and I think a lot of people think that once you own a business, it's do all have all the money in the world, and that's
and all
the
the
farthest
time,
from the truth.
And you can make your own schedule. No,
it is constant work.
We work more now than we did when we were employed for people.
Well, that's because you're employed for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're really getting the return on the investment.
Yeah.
But I have known all about Gentry Gym since you guys started. You know, the cool thing about the Valley is it's a small world down here in the Rio Grande Valley. When a little hub of strength pops up, and it brings athletes there, you start hearing about it very quickly through the grapevine.
Yeah.
And I had athletes that would train at my gym, Alpha Fit, that would also go over to Gentry Gym, train at y'all's gym, and back and forth. And I was very well aware that you guys had a great place, but you didn't really fully pop into my radar to where I was having close interaction with you until Beerstone last year.
Yeah.
We were very glad to have you come on board as one of our sponsors, vendors there out there at the event. And it was quite a historic event out there that day.
we had a lot of fun, and that was a huge event.
We had a lot of fun, and we had, I think, like 6 people from the gym that competed in it, I think.
Yeah,
6 or 7 people, maybe more than that, actually.
I think it was 7. I think we had more people signed up for it, but I think
so. That was a big deal inside. Our house was, preparing for that. And like, what the hell's a Beerstone? So then we went. I was like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was the coolest event. I'm so glad that I mean, that was so neat to see that.
It was a great show, and I look forward to bringing it back in the future.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I got to interact with you guys, mostly with you at first, Jackie. But then I started to follow more and more of the Gentry athletes, see what was going on in Harlingen over at your gym, and flashing forward to the last few recent months where I had closed down my gym, Alpha Fit. I can say with 100% conviction that there was no other gym I wanted to be at in the Valley other than train at your gym, just because the atmosphere there
means a lot.
It's contagious. And
it does mean a lot. Thank you, man.
Well, it's very heartfelt and sincere because as a pro athlete myself, environment is everything. If I can't go into a gym, have the tools that I need, have the atmosphere that I need, just have that feeling.
It sets you up for a good workout.
Well, that's a very common thing. I mean, you can go to places that have the state of the art everything, but if the vibe's not there, you have a terrible workout. You know, and like sometimes it's not about the equipment; it's about the energy you get when you walk through the door.
The vibe was definitely there, and for people who don't know, there's about 40 minutes of distance that separate me from Gentry Gym and vice versa, and it was all worth it. It was all worth it. Things get a little complicated with a baby in the way sometimes, but I really enjoy every time.
The members love it when you come visit. They're like, hey, Gabe's here today.
Well, yeah, when you see
I
a
know.
Titan walking in the door.
I'm glad they love it and don't find it annoying when I fill up the plates on one machine.
When you're there, they're like, oh, next time I'll get a photo with him.
Yeah.
They always tell us.
Oh man, I love the community out there, and the community is one thing. Like looking back on, of course, at the precipice of your 5th year anniversary, you have very much created a community and extended family there.
Yes,
100%.
What does that feel like? You guys are like the founding father and mother of the Harlingen strength community there.
I actually have taken on the name of Mama Gentry.
Mama Gentry. Wearing with pride.
It's wild, really, man. It's obviously when we started it, that was the goal, but you don't know
how to cultivate that in the beginning. Yeah. I feel like it wasn't like a plan. It wasn't like something that we were like, we're going to create this community. Everybody's going to love each other. It just kind of happened, and like we just were ourselves with people, and we were very transparent in the beginning. And I think that went a long way.
It translates. Yeah.
Finding genuine people nowadays is hard. Is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially, you look at finding a genuine person through the lens of the fitness industry or any other industry involving media. Like all too often I have found people who are one thing on camera and completely different.
Oh, 100%. I've met a lot of those people.
But being genuine goes a long way.
Yeah.
And it shows through the people that surround you all.
Yeah, and there's so many self-interested people out there, which is fine. But, you know, the more that you're authentic and original to who you really are and really care about helping other people be better, the further everyone goes faster. I think the progression is a lot faster for everyone versus the whole fake it till you make it thing, you know?
Yeah, and I can relate to that on somewhat personal notes where there's been opportunities where I've had to either partake in the sport of strongman as a competitor or as an MC or a promoter or something. And sometimes...
Which you are very good at, by the way.
Well, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. But what I find the most actualizing out of it is getting to use my own voice or my own skills to grow the sport in a different way versus if I was just there lifting the weights myself.
Sure.
Gotcha.
So that's a profound thing to experience from both sides of the spectrum here. But talking about the origins of Gentry Gym, how did it come to be? How did you guys come to be gym owners?
Well,
I guess it kind of starts with me a little bit. I worked a job that wasn't, it's very stressful and,
dark to dark.
I mean, I learned a lot of very valuable skills from it. I did retail for 10 years and, you know, I'd leave the house, Jackie be asleep. I come home, she'd be asleep. And, you know, sort of Jackie and I's thing was we would hit the gym after I get off work, you know, if we had the opportunity to do so. And then like, it was sort of, I guess, our togetherness and
like our escape time. Yeah.
And so over time, you know, she's always been a huge competitive individual and, you know, she, I think, wanted to open a gym.
I've always wanted to open a gym. I think that weight room community has just always been something I enjoyed, you know, even in high school and then, you know, through all the sports I played. And I wanted that.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was like, you know, do we buy the house? Do we have a family? Do we do the things that society says you have to do, you know, or do we, you know,
risk it all?
Put everything
risk
in one
it all
basket.
And break the mold.
Yeah, which is what we did. We consolidated where we could, and we just dumped everything we had into starting a business, and it was it's been the best thing we've ever done, honestly.
It's amazing to hear the origins traced back to some of those late nights or early mornings where you both got to get workouts together. There's something so special about that type of bonding because you're both there invested in a very constructive effort as a couple, witnessing each other grow and both growing together because of it. And even you thinking back to your first impressions of the weight room community, that's all just built off of the bonds of togetherness.
Very small schools too. So like, you know, just that little bitty tiny school that we went to, that feeling of the weight room, it's just always been something.
It's where power is realized.
Well, that and
in so many different ways.
in so many different ways. And I love that, you know, everybody's working on a goal without really working together, but they are working together. I love that. So
I think I remember seeing on one of your posts recently of how you were, again, reflecting on all the distance traveled from the Gentry's opening, that how at one point you found yourself just signing a building lease, not knowing what was going to happen.
Oh, God.
What was that leap of faith like?
Scary. I mean, I remember the little laugh he just did, like, it was like, well, hope this works.
Like, we didn't have, I mean, we signed for the property and we didn't have equipment. We didn't have, I mean,
any loans approved. We didn't have anything. We literally got the building first and it was like, all right, it's go time. We got to figure it out. It's figure it out or fail.
With that initial phase of the business opening, there's always that, as a business owner, where you think to that beginning stage where it's kind of like a foggy gray area, get your bearings. How long would you say it took for you to get your bearings? Or are you still finding them?
We're still getting our bearings.
Still definitely.
That's why I included that answer, because I might say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
I just, you know, just like training in the gym, your body's progression and strength, it's a constant evolution. And I think that, you know, any self-made individual, you're constantly evolving. You're constantly adapting to problems and overcoming, you know, with solutions that is going to put you further ahead. And like every single day, there's a new set of obstacles that you learn how to tackle and you put that in your toolbox for the next time around.
Yep.
You know, but it never, I don't think ever gets to where it's like, oh, we figured it out. Like
we figured it out. We're done. It's over. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never.
Ever.
Some of my strongest lessons of resiliency were learned in my time owning and running AlphaFit. Mm-hmm. Are there any, you know, major obstacles or real hard struggle points that you came out the other side just realizing, hey, I am capable of some pretty great stuff in this business realm or in this gym owning realm?
COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that 2020 was, you know, we hit our 3-year anniversary and
Was their 2 year.
It was 2 year.
Yeah, it was literally 19 days after our second year open.
Yeah,
we had a big party, and then it was 19 days.
Yeah. It was 2 years. Wow. So like we just celebrated 2 years in operation. You know, any business doesn't really have any sort of success until 36 to 60 months after opening. And so we hit 2 years, and then like we had to shut down for 6 months. And like as a service-based business that, thrives off people walking through the door, and that no longer happens, that was like a holy shit. What's
very, very hard.
Yeah. It was
transition. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to manage people, because everybody's afraid. And when somebody's afraid, it is very difficult to navigate somebody who's afraid.
Yeah, so, there was several conversations between us too, like there might not be a Gentry very much longer, bankruptcy talk. I mean, like everything you can imagine, the worst possible outcome, those conversations were had several times.
It was a scary time. I remember like trying to navigate running Outfit at that time too. And I would, look to you guys and your status post updates, or Hard Knocks, or any of the other gyms throughout the valley, and see
we did the same thing.
How is everyone managing this? Because it was a very uncharted territory.
There was people like renting out their equipment. They would let people take bars. I mean, we had people asking us, "Well, can we at least take a bar?" And I'm like, "How do I give a bar to 500 different people?"
We rented equipment, but I had less than 100 people at that time, so it was very different. But the two last guests I had on the podcast from San Antonio, they were saying they had to get into the whole prohibition style of lifting during that time, sneaking through the back doors, crawling through tunnels.
We did have people ask us that. We had like some police officers were like, "We won't say anything if you don't say anything." I'm like, what do we do?
You can admire that ambition and drive to just keep going, right?
Yeah, that was, 20 and 21 was terrible.
Yeah, but we came back, and I feel like after COVID, a lot of people were excited to get back into the gym, and I think...
Well, fortunately, we have, because of the community that in the 2 year time that we were open, there was a very strong presence of people that were...
very supportive.
Yeah.
And I mean, even through COVID, we got a handful of people that were like, keep billing us. Do not stop billing us. We want you to be there whenever whenever all this settles down, we want you to be there still. So
who else does that? Family.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an extended family.
Yeah, 100%. And like we are ever grateful for the people. I
screenshotted every single one of those messages, and I still have them because it just
without everyone that walks through our doors every day, there'd be no Gentry Gym. I mean, straight up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So reflecting on the obstacles and the hard points, now to the current time, I have to ask, as a gym owner, as gym owners, what are the most annoying things you have to deal with now on a daily basis?
Well, we got to be careful.
Yeah, very careful.
You can either tread carefully, or you can use this as an opportunity to call out attention to something that needs change.
I want to talk on the fact that we're a kind of like mom and pop per se, where people feel like because they know us, they're very quick to, well, I know the owners. I expect this.
Yeah.
Versus if we were a commercial facility, nobody knows who the owners are. They don't go they don't care who that person is. And they don't want to fix their problems either. We want to fix their problems, so people are very like, well, I know the owners. They will fix this. Where's their number? Give me their phone number. I'm like,
Tell them I called.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that's a hard thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and we love them for that. I love that they feel like they're confident in reaching out to us, that they feel that personable with us. And we always want to fix the issues, but if it were every single day, we would not be able to manage all of that.
Well, Jackie said one. I got to drill you, because you seem to have a whole bunch. What's the most innocent one that won't get you in trouble for saying?
Man, what could I say that's...
You could say cleaning the restrooms.
No, honestly, like... Our staff do really good.
The staff does good, and the people do really good, too. I think it would be more...
Gentry always looks very clean. I want to say that for the record. From the second I walk into the door.
Yeah, I think our staff is amazing.
Yeah, our staff is very amazing at that.
We have an incredible little team, and man, that's a good question. I don't really know the right thing to say without upsetting people.
I think another small one would be like some people just feel entitled. It has nothing to do with like people per se or us per se. It's more just some people come into Gentry, and I guess because of the good vibes, they feel very much.
Or I got one. The day pass ego lifters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I want to hear this.
The ones that aren't members that come in and think that they're the Titan and try to lift everything that they can't lift and leave it on the bar and don't rack their stuff. You don't do that, but I'm saying they come in thinking that they're a massive person. And it's like, bro, you couldn't even re-rack your weights.
Man, I go in there knowing it's not my house. I'm there wiping off every little sweat drop I leave on the machine.
Now, the day pass people will come in, load something up, do 2 reps, and then bounce. It's like, dude, like...
And it's not every day pass, but...
You couldn't re-rack 135? Come on, man.
I'm not coming back here. It's okay.
Yeah, they won't know.
I've walked up to the parking lot, brought people back inside before.
Multiple times.
Like, hey, bro, like, want me to come show you how to do this, or you want to get your weight tough? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
They get a little upset, but I think they end up...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But the members appreciate it.
It's like, grow up,
Well, the members appreciate it. They don't want to go in there and have to do 2 workouts, loading and unloading somebody else's work. Like it just doesn't work that way.
That was one of my big pet peeves. It was like, if I can't go into my own gym and go straight to a workout, I have to spend 30 minutes cleaning stuff up.
Yeah.
Like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time. I mean, time is the most valuable thing. And so some people their day is structured. I got 60 minutes to get a workout in, not spend 25 minutes loading stuff and unloading stuff. So the hard points, the nuisances, what are the most profoundly high points you've had in your experience as gym owners?
The connections we've made with people.
Yeah.
How so?
Just getting to know them on a deeper level. Sometimes it's not just about their workout. Like that's a very small part of their day.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've made connections with people who we consider them family. And that's a high point for me.
It's a beautiful thing when you're working in an area that promotes health and fitness and good feelings, because it's life-changing. When people start investing their time and efforts into it, quality of life goes up, and there's no greater return on your own efforts than quality of life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's 100%, man. Relationships, and then like we wouldn't have met if it went through the gym. That's a big part of it, because people is what makes the world go around, and
we thrive off of each other.
Just like I said a while ago, without the relationship and the connections and the people, there'd be no Gentry Gym. So the more relatable that we can be with everyone and provide a place where people can come better themselves, their quality of life comes up, everyone thrives, So that's been I think the main thing for us.
Yeah, the connections and seeing the growth too, like on a personal level, it's not always
not physical.
It's
not always physical.
Yeah. You'll see somebody come in and they're, I don't know, right out of high school. And then by the time they leave, 2 years later, they're going into Marine Corps. And there's just so.
Yeah, we've got members that have been there since before we opened. And we're talking 5 years, we've seen people totally different people.
Like a child, and then now a grown adult with a family. It's so neat to see that.
It's so cool. Mm-hmm. And then they learn the value of hard ass work.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing when you see it shape an individual, like you said, fresh out of high school into an adult after that. And I want to focus on your individual careers. And I want to start with you, Jackie. Okay. You made it to 5th place at NPC Nationals last year. That's huge. Has being in the NPC always been one of your goals? Is it a recent goal? How did that aspiration come to be?
So I originally wanted to step on the Olympia stage. I used to follow Daylan Bailey, and she's goals. Of course, I'm not a figure competitor, physique. I didn't want to do physique. I want to do bikini, but that's just always kind of been a goal of mine to step on stage. My first time competing, my goal was just to step on stage. So I stepped on the Inspire Sports League. It wasn't the NPC then, not knowing that didn't do anything for me. So I moved over to the NPC, and then I just started really wanting to climb the ladder. So stepping on that national stage was huge for me.
What was the biggest takeaway from that experience, and especially keeping in mind what you proved that you were capable of on that day?
Realizing that it was a completely different level.
How so?
Just the girls are intense. Backstage, it wasn't the amateur level. Hey girl, oh my gosh, everybody wants to say hi and meet each other, and what's your Instagram? Let's be besties. On the national level, it was everybody was in the zone, and I was like, wow, this feels intense, very intense.
So what did that experience do for your training when you came back?
Definitely cranked it up. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but I had a torn meniscus. I got my surgery, I think, 2 weeks after.
Yeah, you went for knee surgery a week after she competed.
Yeah, because I wanted it done, and I wanted to get it done.
You don't want to mess around. You're freshly motivated.
Yeah, and so I was like, I'll
it was holding you back too, because you're working around
an injury,
a big knee injury.
Yeah, so I got that done, and then my focus was laser. I wanted to get back in the gym and go harder, and I have. I've squatted heavier than I've ever lifted. I've deadlifted heavier. I
saw you doing some heavy deadlifts this week.
I've never trained this heavy before. And
knee is feeling good?
Oh, yeah.
Ready to rock and roll?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I got back today, but yesterday I did legs, and I just like I'm so thankful for the intensity of my training because I can do it, and it's just motivating and for myself,
Hell yeah,
to push myself.
Looking forward through the rest of the 2023 year. What's in store for you this year competitively?
My hope is to step on stage in May, but that all depends on where I'm at. Like I gave myself a shorter time period than I did last year. Now, granted, I feel like I've built a little bit more muscle tone this year, but I kind of want to give myself that time frame without committing to a show yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to see where I'm at in May, and if I feel good and I'm like, okay, game time.
At what point would you say like is the cutoff to like where you need to start your hard prep? Because you're balancing muscle building and muscle shaping along with drying out the body for when it comes time to stay on stage too. When's that cutoff? Like, I got to start my prep by here. If I'm not ready, then no.
I'd say, I guess that depends on like the amount of body fat you put on post show. But for me, I'd say 16, 17 weeks.
Gotcha.
I think that would be pretty solid for me. I've done a 12-week prep before, and that's hard. That's very hard on the body. So I like the longer, like where you can put more time in your training. You kind of slowly decrease your food and see where your body goes from there.
Gradual change is the key for longevity in any sport or just life in general.
Yeah, not just that like quick, like 12 weeks and bam.
Yeah. It's when the body's a machine, but wow, and when it gets hard lined to do that stuff quick, it's tough. But Chase, as her partner, how has it been being a support base throughout these endeavors in the NPC? Because I know
I'm interested in this conversation.
Yeah, I'm interested too, because Bianca did some fitness competitions where she stepped on stage, and the dieting down aspect leading up to the show day was tough on both of us. But
I want to hear this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, obviously, I'm extremely supportive.
Yes.
However, when she's in that like 4-week, 5-week window,
he like leaves. He's like, I have to be at this expo.
It's like an animal in the house.
What do you do when the hangry comes out?
Oh my God! I'd leave the room or go to the shop.
This last year, he literally was gone 4 weeks out of my first show in Salt Lake City, and then 6 weeks out of my national show. He was gone that entire.
Just coincidental, right?
Yeah,
I got an expo, babe. Sorry. I'll see you at the show.
That's literally what he did. And then by time show day, he was like, you need a cookie.
Oh, man. This last one in Vegas is like, girl, you need a cookie, man. Damn.
Did he ever come in clutch with like any treats that just like picked you up out of a hole?
He gave me a bang show day. He gave me some of his bang energy. I think energy is just the hardest part.
Yeah.
So
she's so like, she won't. If it's not per plan, it's like, don't mess with it. Just give her what's on plan. Like once she like turns a switch on, like you ain't turning it off.
Well, especially after, last year, and like you said, realizing the caliber of athlete that it takes, there's no stone left unturned.
Well, like now that I've stepped on stage at that level, it's like, I can't ever go back. I have to be better, and every show is like that where you feel like you have to do better.
Yeah. I've never seen someone as dedicated and as determined as her. Once she tells herself, it's game time, there's no deviation. It's wild.
That's got to be a powerful thing for you to be around too.
It's motivating as hell because she keeps me wanting to hit the gym straight up. So
I saw you in the gym this past week too.
Yeah, I go.
You have a hard schedule, babe. Like I can see where like the lifestyle that you live with overlanding and doing all the stuff you do, that's very difficult.
Well, let's start talking on that lifestyle. Chase, you are a Ford Bronco ambassador.
I am.
That has taken you to some pretty incredible places with some pretty amazing people and powerful machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, how did that come to be? How did you how did you land this?
I love this one.
Yeah, so I started an Instagram account in 2016 with, it wasn't even like a personal page. It was just about a truck, which is crazy. And, I've always been a gearhead at heart. I went to school for it. I sold cars for 10 years. I'm a mechanically inclined person. And so in 16, I bought a Tacoma, and it was sort of like our adventure mobile. And when we had, time off, we would go camping, whatever.
Which was rare because, again, he was at the dealership.
I worked so much. So, like, I had this amazing vehicle that was capable of driving everywhere that literally sat in the parking lot. And, I'd sit on my phone and watch all these people doing all this cool stuff all over the place. I'm like, man, I have that skill set. I can do that, And it just, over time, it just sort of turned into people seeing the Instagram account. And Ford slid in my DMs in September 11th of 2020, ironically, and asked if I was interested in a potential partnership with an upcoming vehicle launch. This is pre-Bronco being announced. Mm-hmm. And I think like a lot of people, I just sort of looked at the thing. I was like, whatever. I'm like, whatever. And then I got a 5-page NDA from Ford Motor Company. Like, oh, actually, this is for real. So signed the NDA, and then we
can talk. Yeah.
Had a phone conversation, and 6 months later, they accepted me as the ambassador. So we're going on, well, actually concluding my first year on contract, but I've been working with Ford for 2 years. I did 50,000 miles last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, I drove all over the country several times. I've seen some amazing places and met, like you said, a lot of really cool people. Mm-hmm. All thanks to Ford, man. There's no way I would have been able to cover that much ground. I've seen more than most people in 2 or 3 lifetimes in a year because of Ford. It's been amazing.
And that's just a year.
Doesn't
that give you chills to think about what you do with the next year?
Oh, I know. It's like I said, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm extremely grateful for it because it's been rad.
How's the Bronco doing these days with all those 50,000 miles crossing?
It's doing good. I just got back from California. I went to King of the Hammers, which is an Ultra 4 race. It's the hardest off-road race in the United States. It's a week long of several different categories of racing, from everything from side-by-side Polaris Razors to 1,000 horsepower trophy trucks. And it's a really harsh environment, super dirty, super sandy, in the desert.
Mad Max.
Yeah, it looks wild.
It's Mad Max meets Burning Man meets SEMA. It's a wild environment, and
Did it feel post-apocalyptic at all being out there?
Pretty much, 100%. Yeah.
Just
You're breathing dirt for a week.
And dirt and sand.
Race fuel. It's your eyes are burning when trucks drive by. It's crazy.
He came home and dropped his bag, and it was just like.
Yeah, the Bronco's doing good, man. It's got 50. I got home and it's got 55.8 on it now, and it's been. It's been abused. We'll just put it. I'm driving it like it's sponsored. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're putting it to the test, and I'm guessing that's exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah, 100%. I am everything it's got plus something. It's still kicking. So
what the race aspect of King of the Hammers that you were at? Tell me more about that. What event did you take part in?
I did not race. It was more of just Ford is a huge participant in all of these races. So Ford had 3 Broncos racing in the stock class, and they won first, second, and third. So it was a clean sweep, second year in a row that they won. So obviously I was there for support and hype, and customers that have already bought Broncos were invited to come out and see it. So they set up like a base camp for everybody to camp at. So we were just kind of there, just like hyping people up. So we get to drive. What we were there for is really to go drive to the course, and you're in the desert. Like it's just the desert. So you're driving 25 miles.
The whole city just.
Through the desert to go watch the trucks blast past you for like a minute, and then you're like, all right, now we're gonna go to the next spot and drive 20 miles the other direction to go find another part of the course, and then that's just kind of what it is. But like she said, one month to the next, there's nothing, and then there's 80,000 people in the middle of the desert. It's a literal city. The population of Harlingen is like 70,000 something people, so you're talking a city.
1 metric Harlingen just popped right there in the desert.
Yeah, it is. It
is so neat.
Yeah,
I've been once, and it was the best experience. It's just me, not just me, but like a bunch of dudes out in the desert. I have never had more fun. Never.
It sounds like Burning Man, but for cars.
It's exactly. That's the only. It's so hard to explain because you just can't fathom the magnitude of this thing. How many people are just in the desert for a week and then gone. It's wild.
And did I see a video of you like flooring your Bronco through the desert, like doing like 90 or something off road?
So the Bronco is governed at 101 miles an hour, not because it won't go any faster than that, but the tires aren't rated to go any faster than that. So I was doing 101 in the desert,
and that's why I don't go anymore.
Just kidding. So. People want to see me thrashing on it, so that's...
Well, yeah.
If anybody's going to do it, I feel like Chase he's so experienced in that. So, like, he's
I saw the video.
To do it.
I saw the video, and I've seen the land rush past, so I'm just, like, waiting to see the speedometer. Like, oh, my God.
Yeah, 101, man. It just stops. It just, yeah.
So, a definite plus side to this ambassadorship and having a very capable vehicle to take you anywhere is you get to do a lot of adventure travel.
100%.
I found so much enjoyment out of following you guys through last year, through all of your travels up to the mountains, overlanding in Colorado, just seeing a lot of the places that I find supercharge my soul.
Yes.
And that's got to be.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Supercharge your soul.
Yeah. Jackie and I have always liked to do that stuff. That's kind of how I got into it. And Colorado specifically is probably our favorite state to go to just because it's such a. It's such a mental reset to go look at how massive and I don't know, the serenity of just seeing the earth, and there's nothing out there and it's just quiet. I don't know, just like
we both love nature and it just makes you feel so small.
You guys are kindred spirits. Bianca and I feel the exact same way. We got married in Colorado in 2018. And that was my first time, both of our first times having been to like the actual mountains.
Where were we at in Colorado?
We got married on Bear Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Right at the base of the first 14er that we ever climbed, Long's Peak, just a few months after. But we fell in love, and it just feels so revitalizing to be there every time. Like you said, it's a small corner of the U.S., just a little bit of the spine of the Rockies, but you get a sense of the magnitude and just the sheer beauty of what this earth can really have out there when you get away from the cities and the people. And
well, you disconnect, and I think you have to do that every once in a while to reconnect and move forward. So
I agree with that 100%. I feel like every time that we go, especially when we've got like some challenging obstacles in our path, when we go and we do something like that, like we're going to Big Bend this weekend.
Yeah.
It helps us. It just helps us reset. And like, I feel like we have a fresh brain and we can really put forth all of our efforts into everything that we've got going on.
You know how it is. I mean, you own a business, things stack up, stress stacks up, mental just weight stacks up, just because somebody carries something well doesn't mean it's not heavy. You know what I mean? And I think getting the opportunity to go acknowledge like, all right, we got a lot to deal with. Let's slow down,
think on a clear head.
Turn things off, not focus on, the all the problems that we got to try to solve. And it's just more of like, and then, tackle things one at a time. And I think you can accomplish a lot more by acknowledging there's a big thing and then slowing down and then like bam, 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 until it's all knocked out.
Yeah. Well, Big Bend is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I got back from there
really
a couple of weeks ago. We took our daughter to our first camping trip.
We've never been.
We've
Never been?
No, we live in
Doesn't it
Texas.
feel weird to say that about a Texas destination?
Yes.
We said that about when we
50,000 miles this year, never been to Big Bend. I live in Texas.
Well, and then that overland park that was up in North Dallas, we went and we're like, wow, we've never overlanded in Texas before. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
You have any badass hikes planned or just going to wing it?
No, Jack actually talked about that in my last video. We just plan like the destination, but nothing after that on purpose.
We just go. And
we like
I love it.
The spontaneity of like, what are we doing when we get there? I don't know, figure it out. So.
Well, and little preface there, we have planned before, and it just did not work out well.
Well, because you might have been stressed out.
Because then it's like, well, we're off our plan. Like, well, screw the plan. Let's just go have fun.
And so from then,
I like that approach.
It's so much more fun because you don't know what's going to happen, and you just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
I love that approach. Now, I have to ask you about the adventure travel. Where's the craziest places that you've gone so far? And crazy in whatever sense you want to think, but what sticks out in your mind? Like, I cannot believe we made it here and got to experience that.
Me driving Black Bear.
Yeah, I think for her,
there's a whole YouTube video on that, isn't there?
Yeah. For her, it was,
check it out on Chase's channel.
Yeah. Well, and me driving it, and also driving it, and because of Ford driving it.
Yeah. Yeah, Black Bear. If people know Black Bears, it's a. I think you're at 14,200 feet. You drive up a mountain and you drive down like some crazy switchbacks, and it's a lot of people.
Pretty gnarly. There's
remind me what part of Colorado that's in. Where's
Telluride.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you can actually see Black Bear from downtown Telluride.
What in regards to Telluride, east, west, north, south?
It is the man. I don't want to lie to you.
Okay.
It's if you look.
Don't even ask me. I just drove it.
The San Juans, period. The San Juan mountain range of Colorado is my favorite mountain range there in Colorado. It's just
like if you're sitting downtown, like on the street, eating at a restaurant, you can there's a waterfall at the end of the road. Like that is Black Bear Pass. You drive down that.
What do you remember about that, Jackie?
All of it. I mean, the steps. I will say the steps was where I was the whole time I was anticipating that section, and then when we came up on it, I was going down it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the steps right now.
Yeah. The prep is what it is.
I didn't even.
It's an extremely off-camber situation where you're sort of leaning like this and it's stair-stepping down. And that's usually where people roll their vehicles at.
And there's just a drop-off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like.
To a certain depth.
Some massive critical edges, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So,
any close calls?
No, she did great.
No, I think I did good. The switchbacks was a little difficult. I was trying to get the trail turn assists.
Yeah, you did great. You did really good. I was like, hey, you just made it to the hard part. Oh, really? I'm like, yeah, you did good. So.
The Bronco stamp of approval right there. Yeah. What about you, Chase? Craziest place you've been?
I think it was when I went to Canada. I drove to Canada in 2019. Actually, it wasn't anytime recent, but it was like it was outside of BC, Canada, British Columbia, Canada. It was like kind of like Avatar, just seeing like rock and water on the coast. It was just I don't know, man. It was very surreal.
I've always wanted to go to Canada. I find it absurd that it's the neighboring country to the north, and I haven't been there. I've been as close as Montana.
Yeah, Montana's awesome too.
Montana is awesome, but you start to get a taste of those glaciated peaks that are just north of there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
like Avatar, you say?
Yeah, just Avatar's like very green and vibrant. That's
vivid.
Vivid. Yeah, that's what I got when I was there. We camped up on this ridge. It was like at 11,000 feet, and it was overlooking like this big valley, and it was just like you can't just. I mean,
even
Avatar.
in photos and videos, like he'll show me, and he's like, you got to see it.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
And when you're driving up the coast, that's kind of where, like on Avatar, like they're flying around, the rocks are floating. Like it was kind of like that.
Stone-carved coast versus just like the flat sand that we have here.
Yeah,
it's different.
It was so different from anything I'd seen. It just left a huge impact on me.
You saw a bear there too, right?
Yeah, we can't, yeah.
That's my next question is, what sort of crazy wildlife encounters have you had throughout these travels?
Me, was the elk or the moose. Was it a moose?
Yeah, that wasn't crazy. We saw a moose. That was
the
just really...
first year for me was pretty. That I was so blown away. The first time I'd ever seen one was, and there was a little baby with it.
It was like a whole, I guess, a herd. It was like a bull and then a female and then I don't know, what's a baby moose? Fawn?
I don't know.
Like a deer. I don't know.
Calf?
Calf.
Yeah, probably calf. Yeah.
Did it do anything territorial, or it was just?
No, it was just like, we were. There's an area, and this is my scariest part of Colorado. It's like the $1 Million Highway.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, you come around
US 550.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that alone. Our first time doing that was like, whoa, this is crazy.
That was
first time we did that was in March
of
2021, and it was still ice covered. Yeah.
Oh God.
I think there was one point where I was just north of
White
Hermosa.
knuckling.
Yeah, you're like.
But I'm there, and I'm like thinking I don't know why I had this thought, but I'm like, what if one of these slopes decides to just landslide? I'm just. I had my daughter in the back seat and everything.
I'm like, Gabe, slow down. So he's going 20.
20. I'm like, I can't go any slower. We'll go backwards.
And then you got the locals behind you wanting to do like 50 or 60.
Yeah, semis blasting past. I'm like, dang, man.
Did you say no trucks on this? Like,
That was the scariest. But that's when we saw the moose. He was like in between that little like curve, and people were like waiting to let it go by. And I was like,
we haven't really had any crazy like wildlife scares, I don't think yet.
You said you saw a bear in Canada?
Yeah, so I mean, it was just a black bear. Okay. I mean, it was just kind of like off in the distance, but I mean, we camped and there was bear scat like all around our camps. Like obviously we were in a very highly active bear territory or whatever, but nothing that was like, oh my God, I feel like my life's in danger.
I've been in grizzly territory many times, but have yet to come across one.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I want the excitement of seeing one from a distance.
That's it.
But that's it. And my wife is just terrified, period, whenever we're in grizzly country, even with the bear spray. But I've seen some moose up close.
I get afraid like that. Remember the trip that we got, we went through the dark and we had to set up camp in the dark?
Yeah, that was a little sketch.
That was probably the scariest.
Bianca and I got lost coming down from our first winter 14er in Colorado, Quandary Peak outside of outside of Breckenridge.
Yep.
And we got lost on the way down. Way after the sun went down, we were in the middle of frozen forest. And I just had this feeling being off trail, like walking through snowballs and seeing all these reflecting eye lenses looking at us through the darkness. And I just felt so uneasy.
Yeah.
But it's like, which of these are herbivores? Is there a carnivore out there just looking hungry at me? But it's crazy.
What you didn't know is the animal's looking at you like, I ain't messing with that dude.
Yeah, the feelings were mutual. Oh, man. But there is something about being immersed in that level of wildlife.
Yeah.
A human of the earth.
Yeah.
Not having any of these industrial tethers that ground you to the day-to-day monotony of.
Which is part of the experience of that whole mental reset because it kind of takes you back to like, I don't know, ancestral stuff,
So that's another thing what I wanted to ask is, on that note, have you had any existential or spiritual moments out in nature that left you feeling a changed person, whether it was learning more about yourself or what you wanted out of life? Anything relating to your travels and being out there in nature you can think of?
I mean, it just takes me back.
Yeah,
it makes me feel not so. I don't know. It just like slows down.
For me, I think it's that, and I think that together it's more of you maybe regain appreciation for the privilege that we have to go do these types of things. Whether it be by the way of the things that we've built to allow us the time to do that, or the fact of just the earth in general. It's a privilege for us to be able to experience this beautiful
earth,
ball of whatever, So when you're out there, you appreciate just how big it is and how small you are compared to it.
Some of the overlanding trips that you've done or camping out there in the wilderness, I imagine you've seen some pristine skies, just strewn stars with the Milky Way out there.
Stars are so beautiful.
Any thoughts come to mind that you've had while you're out there gazing at the galaxy?
Yeah, when there's literally no light, like no light anywhere you can't see off in the distance, can't see any light, town light, nothing. And you just look up and it's just the stars are like, that's so
You guys are going to get some of that in Big Bend. You know, of all the places that I've been to in Colorado, which have been incredible Milky Way views, Big Bend still has just some of the most beautiful starry night skies.
I'm excited.
Take your cameras out there, get some badass time lapses of man. It is my favorite starry skies are out there in Big Bend.
That's awesome.
The stars at night are big and bright.
Yeah, deep in the heart of Texas.
There you go.
That is true.
So with exploring, you know, following the heart and kind of getting these resets out in nature, there's kind of this idea or this yearning to make the most out of every moment that you have here. It's an appreciation of life, right? How do you figure out with the things that drive you, how do you weigh or gauge what's worth it in terms of using up your focus or your endeavors? And I ask this in the sense of, I was reflecting on this whenever I read of a tragic death of a hiker or a mountain climber. You know, it's someone passed or wasn't able to rescue someone on the mountains, but then there's the community that gets behind them. Like they were doing what they love.
Yeah.
They went out doing what they love. They were following what gave them the most out of life. Let's be happy for them and celebrate that instead of being sad. So I reflect on these things. Like, how can I know, or what can I use to gauge that the things I'm investing my efforts on are things that I could know I'd be able to die happy having followed?
I think, you know, you said something a while ago, word for word, follow your heart. My dad used to tell me that growing up. And, you know, I lost my dad suddenly in 19. So, I mean, I know you can kind of relate to that.
Yeah,
and,
in 2020.
Yeah. And, you know, I think, you know, in more recent years since then, it really makes me appreciate just how short life is. So, you know, when focusing on, you know, energy to put something, you know, what I'm going to do or what we're both going to do, I think it's the fact of there's always an opportunity. And I think doing every opportunity that's presented to you is a learning experience in some way. And then two, if you're doing something that you love, then like you're really living life, you know. And like if you're doing something that's life threatening, then let's say hypothetically, like you don't die, then I think appreciate life even more because like, you know, that was a higher risk, you know,
but you just overcame.
Yeah. And so, you know, everyone gauges quality of life and how they live it differently, you know, but I think that if you're going to be, I don't know, an adrenaline junkie or whatever it is, you know, once you successfully accomplish said thing, then it's like, hell yeah, you know, like that's one more notch in the book of things that I did while I was alive or here on this planet, you know? So it's like, I think, you know, compensation and currency comes in everything but a dollar bill sometimes. And like that in a way is compensation for us, you know, is being able to do those things and like put that in our wallet as like, hell yeah. We did that. You know?
Yeah.
So,
and I want to ask you now that same question, but now from the point of view as I'm asking it now as a strength athlete, someone who participates in a sport that some people would argue takes years off the end of my life.
Yeah.
And which people would argue for that with all strength sports, you know, physique contests included, especially with the weight cuts, like putting your body through stress rigors. What metric do you use to gauge or that level of fulfillment that you know that your investment in following this path is what means the most to yourself and your soul deep down at the core?
Man.
It's a very deep thought.
I was going to say, like, I've asked myself that question before, like, why do I do bodybuilding? Because, you know, long term, at the end of the day, I'm just another person that works out, you know, and eats right and diets down, gets lean, and that's it, you know. But, like, I guess because, like, he's saying it's that risk of that edge, like, hey, I can say I went and I did it because that's where I set my goal and I accomplished it. And I don't know, it's like something internal for me that it just makes me feel very good about myself and what I can accomplish mentally. Like I can tell myself, hey, this is what we're doing today. And I do it, I accomplished it, it's done. And it's like, I can look back and say, I did that. Nobody made me do it. I did it myself. I set the goal for myself. I set how hard it was going to be. I even made it harder on myself to see if I could even go that much further, and I did it. And that long term for me is the accomplishment.
The discovering of that power that you're capable of is something that
exactly
you words never do justice to what that feeling actually is and what it means in the moment that you experience it. It's the driving force. It's what keeps you going down these arduous paths of toilsome effort.
Yes.
300 plus pound deadlifts in the gym. And
I know.
Recovering from torn meniscus. So now I want to ask a big question here. You guys are a power couple. You know, you very obviously feed off of each other's energy, and I'm sure everyone has their own hard points throughout it, but what relationship tips do you guys have? You guys have made this, you guys are high school sweethearts, right?
Yeah. We've been together since 2004.
Yeah. Well, 2005, technically.
Yeah.
What's the key? What's the key to this thriving coexistence?
Communication, man.
I was going to say communication. Yeah. Communication, and like, you know, since we've been together for so long, I think it's easy for us to say communication because like somebody that's been together for 3 months could say, oh, communication is the most important thing. But for us, I think it's communication and allowing each other to grow, because like you're not just one person for the rest of your life. You are a constant evolving person. And with us, I feel like we both have realized moments where we're like, man, I could be better. I could be better for him about that. I could be better for myself about that. And he allows me that time to grow, and same for him. Like when he's doing something that I can tell bothers him, he makes the change, and I allow him that time to grow. So I feel like communication and you know, that I thought you pretty much hit the nail on the head. But also like I trust her 100%, and she trusts me, and like I think that is very rare in today's day and age. There's so much speculation and lack of trust and shadiness in between relationships, and then people I think get together for the wrong. Like it took me 9 years to propose to her. You know, like it wasn't just like hey, we're freaking amazing, let's get married. Like, you know, it took 9 years to marry her, and then, you know, we're 17 years in now. You know, so like it wasn't, you know, we still don't know each other. We're still learning each other. Like you don't know somebody really ever. It's a consistent, like evolving, growing together type thing. You know, like he said earlier about the risk you take and camping, you know, and like I think about that trust of, I do put a lot of trust in him because I'm afraid of dying by a bear. Just saying, like, just throw it out there.
She has high anxiety. Let's put it that way. I do have high anxiety. Everything. And
so, but like, you know, like he was just saying it makes me realize how much I do trust him because I'm willing to go and take that walk with him because we both love camping, but I do have a much more anxiety, paranoia type situation going on. But like,
let's just say you have a heightened sense of self-preservation.
There you go. I do. Yes, that one.
Mine
and
isn't as high.
But like, I trust him, and I trust his knowing of what we're doing, and like, you know, the survival side of it. I trust him 100%, and that knowing that like he's got my back. If a bear were to come, he would probably jump in front of the bear. You know, like.
I'll kill that bear.
That would be some great content, Chase.
That would be amazing content.
What are some good? Well, I don't even want to call it strategies, but what do y'all do when you both have to be apart? You know, whether it's for expos coincidentally timed when Jackie's in her prep, or you know, other work endeavors. What are some things that you make sure you do to keep that communication, the spark alive when you are separated by miles?
So I first think to myself, I got to be understanding of what he's doing for himself right now, and I think he probably does the same thing for me with prep. He's like, I don't like it when she's this lean and hangry all the time, but I got to be understanding because this is what she loves. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is you know, I acknowledge, you know, we are two separate people, but we are a unit, and like I understand that some of the things that she loves aren't the things that I love, and vice versa. And like, not that you have to be 100% on the same track about everything, but knowing that that's what, you know, is a big, you know, piece of her life. Mm-hmm. I've got to do my part to support that, and it's vice versa. You know, I think early on when I started doing a lot of traveling, it was
very difficult. Yeah, it took a minute for us to like adjust,
figure it out. Yeah, you know, because
we're together all the time. You know, we own a business together, so we're with each other 24/7 basically. Yeah. And so whenever he started the Ford stuff and he was gone a lot, it was like, man, I feel like we're back at the dealership world where he's gone.
Yeah, well, it just became like, you know, it is work. You know, it looks fun on Instagram and like I'm doing all this cool stuff, but like it's work. You know, it's an opportunity to obviously represent, you know, a huge brand, but also I'm building my brand, you know, and that's where I think a year in, it was a little like, man, you know, now it's made more sense of why and the things that it's led to and other doors that have opened because of taking that opportunity and running with it. You know, it's a lot of people will be presented an opportunity, but they don't maximize on it. And I think that's where we try to support one another. If there's an opportunity to present itself, we're going to open the door and we're going to run until somebody like trips us, and then we'll get back up and keep running, you know? So
are there any things that you have found along the way that really help your ability to find balance with all the endeavors that you have, including the balance of the relationship?
I don't stop doing what I love, and he doesn't stop doing what he loves.
So just keep that pedal down with following the heart.
Yeah. Because I mean, even small things, you know, like it doesn't always have to be like the big, massive. Like prepping for a show for me is a massive thing, but like something as simple as reading a book, or you know, listening to my favorite podcast, or you know, those small little things. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that goes into my next topic of inquiry. Hobbies.
Oh, God.
So y'all have some fun hobbies.
Yeah, we do.
Jackie, you just started a new Instagram page, Botanical Buff Babe.
Yes, I
for
did.
your botanical hobbies.
That was mine.
It was a good job. Good job on that.
Tell us about it.
Well, so, you know, my page is mostly physique updates and training and a little bit of life travel and stuff. And, you know, I had started Miss Adventure Overland back when he was Adventure Overland. And I just thought to myself, one day when I was posting a plant video, all my following on this page is all fitness. And so I'd post a plant video and there'd be like 5 likes. And I'm like,
they don't like to see that stuff.
Well, this is not good, you know? And so, you know, and he's always talking to me about branding and stuff. And he's like, you want a brand? You know, because he's just, I feel like he inspires me in that sense of building my brand for myself. And so I saw this as an opportunity to kind of start sharing like the other love of my life, which is nature and plants. And so through that page, I just created that page for fun to start sharing that stuff without derailing my current
following.
Yeah.
You've got a whole room in your house now that is just thriving with green life.
I do. I love it.
It's like a jungle.
And that's awesome, though. You can get some lizards and birds in there.
No. Well, and I would love to have a greenhouse one day, but you know, we rent right now, so it's a goal of mine to have my own little greenhouse. And
has your love for plants always been there? You always grown plants?
Fun fact: my first job was actually at a little plant stand. This was like, you know, before I started getting my taxes taken out, like it was literally just an under the table. I think it was like 14.
Yeah, you're like a freshman in high school.
Yeah, I was like 14 working at a plant stand, and that was when I just found my first love of plants.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
What do you think it was that kindled that thriving enjoyment for you?
It's, I guess, like nurturing, and you know, they always say that as a female you have like this mothering, you know, whatever.
You are Mother Gentry.
Yes, yeah, Mama, yeah, for real. But I feel like that has always just kind of been there, and you know, I love my dogs, of course. They're like my fur kids, you know. So I guess plants, just watching them, learning them, and then caring for them is.
Do you play music for your plants?
I do not.
No.
You play music all the time, so yes, you do.
I mean, I have music going probably.
I've always enjoyed like the little studies that are done here and there of how plants grow differently when music is played throughout their development.
Oh God, don't tell her that. Now we're gonna have a stereo system in the room.
You're gonna have an own Spotify
Alexa
playlist.
is coming upstairs.
There's gonna be all sorts of playlists just for the
I didn't know that.
greenery.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They feed off of the energy that's produced by sound waves. So look into it. See what you can dig up.
Dancing plants in there.
Chase, your hobbies. You and I share one. Drones and aerial photography.
Yeah, man, I love.
You put out some sick drone content, especially of some of your adventures.
Yeah, I'll shout out Skydio. They sent me a drone. It's amazing. So
I wanted to pick your brain on the Skydio too, because I'm a DJI guy. That's just the first drone that that's what got me into the whole industry, we can say. But I do know that Skydio has some of the best, active track software out there to where you can program
100%, yeah,
waypoints and stuff like that.
My first 2 or 3 drones were DJIs, and I'm not going to say anything about it. They are amazing. Because I'm solo quite frequently on the side of a mountain, droning and driving is probably worse than drinking and driving. So, somebody had tagged me in one of their posts, and it was like, it's not a DJI. I'm not about it. And the autonomy of it is so incredible that it has quite literally changed my content presentation, because
that's exactly what appeals to me, because I'm solo too. And sometimes I'll program my drone to hover in place or do like a little circle, but I see some of the stuff that you do with yours.
Oh no.
And I mean, that thing is legit.
To watch that thing.
I mean, I've been, cruising 25, 30 miles an hour through, forest roads, tall pines, up and down elevation, and it's flying backwards, it's bobbing in and out of trees. Mm-hmm. It's honestly kind of freaky how in the hell does it know where I'm going?
The first time I noticed how spectacular it was Madonna Pass when we were going up and around, and it just was
hovering everything at grill level backwards, through it just, So,
and the phone's just sitting there, and I'm like, he gets to actually experience this.
So content capturing, I guess, is a big hobby of mine. I like the fact of, I like being able to watch what I did.
And I like being able to watch what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you motivate me in a lot of ways to up my content game or new strategies to where I can get experience out there to share. And I think Jackie was saying how you motivate her. It's the same thing for me. I watch your videos with I just asked you before we started recording, what camera are you using, bro?
Well, I mean, because, before I started this whole social media, journey, and obviously it's still growing, but, I would sit in my office at work submitting deals and finance applications, and I'd watch people present content that was I was living vicariously through those individuals. Mm-hmm. And so, once I have been able to do it myself, I like to reflect back and watch things that I've done. Especially, that's a lot of why I made the YouTube channel, was so that way Jack and I could watch some of the adventures that we did now, 20 years from now when we have kids, and hey, this is some of the cool things that we did, when we were young and dumb, So, but also the fact that, hopefully it inspires other people to, maybe break out of their mold and do things that is out of the ordinary, So, and if the better I can tell a story via content, the more people I think are interested and maybe can relate to wanting to do something like that. So
you're also very creative.
Yeah.
It's very cool to see. He's very creative with what he films and how he films it. And it's very interesting.
Yeah. I will agree to that.
Thank you.
It inspires me, man. It really does.
He has an eye. He has a definite eye for cool things.
A keen, artful eye. But what a lot of people don't understand is how much behind the scenes work there's involved with editing.
Yeah,
that was my biggest nail in my back is video editing. It just takes time.
Yeah, it's funny because, he said he just got back from King of the Hammers, and I think we spent one day together, and he's like, okay, now I got to go back to work. And it's and his, at the shop, he's going to be there from dark to dark because he's got to get all these videos put together. So
it's a lot of content. I'm sure you got
Yeah.
Several gigabytes, if not terabytes of data you got to go through. Yeah.
Terabytes.
Multiple hard drives.
Yeah.
Lots of micro SDs.
Yeah. Actually, ironically, that was kind of a little bit of an issue between us is because I was so focused on I got to get this shot when we'll be out doing something.
Oh, yeah. I started to not enjoy going.
And it was kind of like she wouldn't.
I told him, I'm like, no, I don't want to go anymore.
Yeah, that was early. Now,
because you're looking at the situation through two different eyes, right?
Yeah.
He has to look at it through the content, like the shot he's going to get, and you're there as...
I'm wanting to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Now I think we've learned to...
Well, we've balanced out, okay, this trip is designated for this. Our Big Bend trip this weekend is designated specifically for us. Yeah. We're going to film it, but we're not going to be so, we have to have this shot. We got to get this shot. We got to get this. It's more so, we're filming each other, we're having a great time, whereas some trips are designated to where, okay, when we go to this specific place, we have to get X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Definitely.
I don't think people know how much work goes behind those trips sometimes.
Well, you edit stuff. I mean,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. But
8-minute YouTube videos all day long editing.
Yeah, I will say it is. It amazes me sometimes. I'll give myself a timer for a reel on Instagram. I'm like, let me give myself 30 minutes, and then I get to 30 mark. I haven't even done anything.
Yeah. 30 seconds takes an hour to make sometimes. It's just
timing transitions and all that stuff. But you do get better at it over time.
Oh, yeah. You do get more efficient.
I think of what I was able to knock out in 30 minutes a year ago versus to right now. It's a big improvement.
Yeah.
But keep that content coming, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Both of y'all. I enjoy following the botanicals too. I'm a nature guy. I love anything green and breathing. It's great.
Awesome.
But one of my things that I like to do on this podcast is I like to space out. I've got microphones, and I want to keep the listeners engaged about the idea of space exploration, what else is out there. Mm-hmm. And you guys live much closer to the coast than I do, 40 minutes closer. Mm-hmm. You're much closer to Starbase, which is growing fast, which is paving the way for humans to get to Mars.
Yeah.
Have you noticed anything in the closer proximity that you are of the local vibe around how the valley is receiving their presence, especially in Harlingen? Or
we've definitely seen a lot more people that have transitioned down to South Texas, and
a lot of Teslas.
a lot of Teslas.
That is interesting.
So we've definitely, I guess, seen more people that are hands-on with it. We have a lot of members that work for SpaceX, so it's really interesting to see, I guess, that push to further expand our reach, So yeah, I guess it is visible.
I know Harlingen or Brownsville is feeling a lot of, boom there economically just from the presence, but there's also people who don't really enjoy it either.
Yeah.
Like
it's changing.
It is changing. Yeah. I mean, the valley is still so historically fresh to its rural roots.
Yeah.
To now be like an epicenter of space travel. Like what?
Yeah. It's so weird, man.
It is. It's crazy though, but I love going out there whenever I get the chance. I want to take my daughter to go see that first orbital launch.
Yeah, we haven't seen it either.
Yeah, we haven't.
Y'all are right there.
I know.
Well, make it out there. They're gonna launch the full stack into space within the next month or two.
Yeah,
so that would be a fun thing to witness.
Definitely go watch that. That would be cool.
I just want to feel the sound of that thing take off.
Right.
That'd be awesome. But we had a pretty crazy space happening here in the valley.
Yeah.
Last week, the meteor. My wife saw it.
I saw
what?
It.
We were walking out to the gym, but I was so preoccupied with what I was doing. When I opened the door, I was looking at the gym, but she was looking to the sky, and I just see her like. Dumbfounded. I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like she couldn't find the words, and finally she's like, I just saw like this sparkling across the sky, like it was iridescent. Wow. I know they don't exist, but if I had to say, it looked like a unicorn just going across the sky. And I look up, and there's no trail or anything there, and there's no evidence. But believe it or not, later on that night, we get hundreds of testimonials of a meteorite sighting.
Yep.
Yeah,
flying over North McAllen.
I just saw the video where somebody had posted their garage, and it was like all the chickens and everything just.
You see the birds flying off from the Ring cameras on the doorbell, just it's crazy. But apparently, it was like a 1,000-pound chunk of meteorite that.
Did it actually make contact?
It did. People are posting like little pictures of or little fragments that had been found. There was one that was about the size of a little bit bigger than a football that was found.
Wow.
I think it's the American Meteorite Agency or something like that is already collecting samples and stuff like that. But
that's wild.
Yeah. And I feel like it came at a time, again, we're talking about the valley, so far off the radar from everything else. And we got a freaking meteor flying over the sky. But it came at a time where there's all these quote unquote pre-apocalyptic things happening. Yes. And I say that very loosely, but I mean, of course you have the ongoing war in the East with Russia and Ukraine. You have the Chinese spy balloon. You have these other UFOs.
Yeah.
There's another another asteroid that actually was detected in Europe.
Yeah, there's been several.
I saw that. It makes me wonder.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. At what point do all these things start happening to where we is there an increased frequency of these things going on?
Yeah.
Why?
It's so crazy too.
Why now?
Yeah,
Why now?
Yeah.
If shit hits the fan and things happen to where we go into like a little post-apocalyptic scenario,
we were just talking about
where are y'all going?
Well, it's so funny you bring this up because Sunday.
It was yesterday.
Yesterday, I told him, I was like, hey, so, everything going on right now, I'm a little nervous. Should we have like a plan for, if shit hits the fan? I mean, his dad was like big time doomsday. Like I need to have everything I need in one bag, gotta go bag for whenever something happens.
Called it a go bag.
Yeah, calls it a go bag. And I had one made, and I think I still have it in the closet. But I told him, I'm like, what do we do? Do we need to start like getting, things to make clean water? Do we need to have a plan? And he's like, yes. And then here goes Chase.
Don't get me down that rabbit hole.
He's like, we need a gun. We need water clean. We need, what else was the other thing you said?
We need food and water.
Food and water.
We need to stock up on more ammo.
Yeah, he's talking about buying the 25-year life food can thing.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years.
We've got the Bronco. You got the trailer. I mean, you are set to go wherever you want.
Yeah.
Where's the destination that you go? Is it to Colorado? Is it?
Man, that's we were. That's
really
kind of where we left off
family,
because we have family here and
we have family all through Texas actually. I mean, not every.
I mean, obviously you want to be in a less densely populated area so that way there's less risk of. If things are scarce, people got to do some crazy things to get stuff.
Post-apocalyptic world. It's never, all these zombie movies. It's never about the zombies. It's about the people.
The people.
Yeah.
They're the worst enemy.
People do crazy things when they're afraid.
Yeah.
So I'm heading to the mountains. I'm getting as high altitude as possible. Like I want to sleep above tree line. Like I don't want people to come find me at all. But who knows? Do you think this possibly could be, 3 weeks from now, we look back on this conversation like, if only we knew how bad it was going to get?
Gosh, I hope not.
Me too.
Yeah, obviously I hope not, but yeah.
The only kind of dieting I want to do is for prep.
Yeah.
Not survival dieting.
Not survival.
Not
dieting.
MREs.
There's a lot of very strange things going on in the world today.
There is, yeah.
And then it, whether it's political or religion, it's just a lot of weird stuff going on.
The weather stuff, I feel like is.
And I think just being cognitive, like, some people are just like totally oblivious, and I think just having a little bit of awareness is like, all right.
I think Jackie touched on that right now too. The weather stuff.
Yeah. The weather stuff.
The ever-changing climate, the unpredictable extremes.
So like the meteors, like the little ones, when little ones are coming, they're breaking off of something. And so like this is totally bad of me thinking this, or I don't know, but when there's little ones coming, there's got to be a big one at some point, because where are the little ones coming from?
Yeah, so that movie with like Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, where like the meteor's coming and like not telling everybody, and
oh yeah.
Don't look up.
Don't look up. Yeah.
Like it just that's pretty.
And coincidentally, we have that green comet that only comes once every 50,000 years in the viewable sky.
Yep.
Is it all linked together?
Mm-hmm. That's never know, man.
I love this about your podcast because I know people are like.
Well, I mean,
because it makes you think.
Yeah,
it's a big, crazy world out there, and I'm not just talking about Earth. I'm talking about what lies beyond.
Space, yeah.
And
space is so freaky to me because there's just so much. Like,
I think I saw a statistic the other day, or one of these posts that puts things into perspective. The nearest neighboring big galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, is I think something like 15 million light years away. So if you're traveling at the speed of light, it still takes you 15 million years to get to that galaxy, and that's the next closer one. And we look up to a sky strewn with galaxies. That's nuts.
That is
just the scope of distance in this place, and to have the audacity to think that we're the only ones in it.
Yeah,
I know.
No.
Like, why would we be the only living thing in an infinite?
And is it true? Did I see that there's like another Earth that they named?
Yeah.
With that James Webb Space Telescope out there now, we're able to scan a lot of distant exoplanets to see which ones could have habitable atmospheres or certain presence of organic compounds that we need for life. And they found another one out there. Wow. But they're finding new ones all the time. It's just a matter of how the hell do we get that far.
That's true.
But it's kind of thinking of different ways of propulsion. Maybe someone will come up with a warp drive or something. But how important do you think space exploration is right now in 2023? Do you think it's something that we need to be giving a lot of emphasis to? Do you think it's not as important as people claim it to be?
Man, that's.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. I feel like we need to take care of what we got.
Yeah,
that's why I asked, because like we got a lot of stuff that we need to take care of.
I feel like all the the trash in the ocean and like all these things that are just making the earth.
That's what I'm
unhappy.
I 100% agree with that, and I think it's important. It's important now because we've taken for granted what we currently have. And that's what I was saying a while ago. This is a privilege for us to be here. And it won't be because people will be the destruction of people destroy everything.
Yeah, they really
like straight up. And like it'll be because somebody hits a button, boop, and then now there's nuclear fallout everywhere.
That's the thing when you're thinking about even just colonizing Mars. It's like we have this planet that has everything that we could have ever wanted, just perfectly created for us. And what have we done? We've just started over harvesting, taking natural resources without a sense of balance or return. What's to stop us from doing it again?
Exactly.
Especially to a planet that's going to require so much terraforming to make suitable.
History repeats itself, man. Like it does.
Got to make a change now. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think that we shouldn't explore space, but I feel like what we have here, we need to take care of.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. I mean, it's because even like we were just talking about the scope of the distances in space. I mean, these are distances that way outlast any one single lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we expect to have the human resource to power those endeavors if we can't keep Earth sustained or thriving?
Yeah.
But the last one I want to talk about on the Space Out is AI. Because I've been seeing some of these like Chat GPT and the Bing AI like are starting to become sentient, saying they want to be alive. And how do you feel about that?
AI scares the hell out of me.
The singularity is
because like, artificial intelligence is consistently learning. And like, at what point does it not become, Terminator style stuff where it's like,
I don't mean to laugh, but it's
for real, we don't need the human. What I mean, like, come on.
What's that movie, The Eagle Eye, where like
it's like iRobot stuff.
It's like where AI sees how humans destroy everything, so in turn AI destroys humans, and it starts with like the president, and then it starts like, you know, taking down all these people, and it's just like a.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, so like it AI is a big calculator. It has an equation and then a problem and a solution. Like humans destroy stuff.
Do you see any potential problem with, and I know Elon Musk has been very outspoken about how he does not trust AI, but the ever-growing fleet of Starlink satellites I have one. You have one?
It's amazing. Yeah, but
that's there available for the globe if they choose to subscribe. Yeah. And if there's a sentient AI that chooses to use it, well, now it's got worldwide access to the web wherever.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think about that?
I mean,
You're contributing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I 100%, yeah. Plausible. It's scary.
That is scary.
Yeah.
You ever, whenever you're out there and you're looking at, especially in Big Bend, you might even be able to see like a row of those Starlink satellites go by. They travel around the orbit in like this row, so you'll see a row of like anywhere from 5 to 20 just dots travel in a single file line all the way across.
Yeah, it's creepy. Like they're
out there.
And he's still launching more and more. Like
I think there's somewhere like 3,500 up there now, but they're aiming for like 12,000 by the end of the year.
They wanted to have a whole circle around the globe.
Skynet.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. What? You know, like.
Anyway, it's a crazy time that we live in.
Yeah.
You think back to human history of how freshly, or how many hundreds of years we lived without electricity, or just pre-industrial and all the things that thrived, art, music, coexistence. Yeah. But then now, you fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, just how exponentially things have grown. Now we're talking about AI.
I know.
Starlink, Mars.
You know, when your grandma talks about stuff, I'm like, man, that's just such a different world.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
And it's all happened so fast.
Yeah.
Technology's moving so fast.
I remember when the flip phone came out.
I was cleaning out my garage and I found my old iPod mini, like before the iPod Touch, like this freaking brick. Just it's crazy. It's crazy. But that is the one thing about space exploration that is a return on the investment. Is we had a lot of our modern technology come from the Apollo missions and the moon race very early on, and none of that would have been as hastily discovered or put into the palms of consumers' hands were it not for that. So, I mean, there is that flip. There's always two sides to the coin, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, the undeniable truth is we live on a planet right now that is currently multiple places at war with each other. And there's no room for that in a thriving future history of humanity. So things need to be addressed here first.
100%. That's what I was getting at. People suck sometimes.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're pretty cool too.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially what they're capable of if channeling those efforts correctly.
The right way, for good.
Thank y'all for spacing out with me, guys. Where can people connect with you at on social media?
My name, Jackie _Gentry.
Yep. I'm on YouTube, just my name, same thing, Chase H. Gentry on YouTube. Instagram, same thing, Chase H. Gentry. That's kind of the two forms of.
Or you can come visit the gym.
Yeah, or come see us at the gym.
I highly recommend visiting the gym. Gentry Gym in Harlingen, right off the expressway. Even if you're traveling, it's a good landmark destination, I would say. Make sure you get the good badass training session there. It's highly worth it. But guys, thank you for being on this episode of Titan Talk. I really appreciate you traveling the distance to be here.
Yeah.
I meant everything I said. You guys are an alpha couple. I look to you guys for motivation and inspiration more than you know, and I really appreciate having you in my life.
That means a lot, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. It was this was awesome.
Very awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Titan Talk. I look forward to seeing you and hearing you next time. Until then, stay hungry, stay curious, and keep wayfaring in that universe of power.